So this is what it looks like when somebody plays Germany for the first time. It's okay. We'll walk through what happened. So as usual, this was sent in on disastersavior.com with a little description. First time playing HOI4, was somewhat following my guide, and after Poland rejected Danzig war, I declared war and proceeded to shit the bed. Yeah, I can see that. Okay, a little more info would be nice, but we'll work with it. He has the DLCs Man the Gun and Graveyard of Empires, so I will only be activating those. So moving forward, other disasters will only use the DLC that the person who sent it in had access to. It gives a better idea of how to fix things with the tools you have and not just me having the full toolbox. All right, let's go. This is going to be great.
Is this some sort of brain scanner?
Some sort, yes. In France, it's called a guillotine.
Oh! Professor, can't you examine my brain without removing it?
Yes, easily.
And by great, I mean terrible. So let's just stop everything. All right, what's this army looking like? 9 tanks, 11 tank. You know, I see a lot of tank division icons. I also see a lot of very low bars. So I'm gonna check something. Equipment details. Medium tanks, and I can tell you don't actually have a tank corps. Your entire military, all 40 tank divisions, have a total of 80 Panzer IIIs, and they have to share them between 40 divisions. Every tank division has 2 tanks. This is not good. So, small lesson. A division that doesn't have all of its equipment is not combat effective. It can never operate as well as you want it to do. Fighting strength is low, stats will be lowered accordingly. This is not a good way to play. You simply don't do this. Now, I think you just don't understand the concept that a division exists but also needs equipment in it. You're going like, I need more tanks, I need more tanks, I need more tanks. Yes, you need more actual tanks, which is why you make them first. You're 31,870 tanks short. If you can't supply those numbers, don't make tank divisions. It's not doing anyone any good. In this case, you know, everything's terrible, so we just have to peel back to something a little more reasonable, which is probably going to mean all in on infantry equipment. Like, what kind of orders are you giving your tanks? Is the idea just drive and win? Because that is not how this game works. Just stop all these offensives. I'm calm and collected. I'm not going to shit on you. So I'm going to be very honest. This is a very bad way to play. Commanders, it's here. My official merch, and it's a masterpiece. Introducing the Type 7 Submarine Desk Mat, brought to life by the artist Disc and the team at Epic Desk. Now, this is not just a desk pad. It is a blueprint of history stretched across your entire setup. Look at it. The full technical layout of a German Type 7 U-boat, rendered in striking blueprint detail. My favorite, blue, but you may also select black. Torpedo specs, pressure hull dimensions, even the deck gun. Every detail is here. You've got armor labeled bitter steel, a nod to the community, and that bold B logo, that's how you know it's ours. Now, crafted on Epic Desk's premium 4mm pad with a silky smooth surface non-slip base, this mat is built for precision, whether you're diving into combat or just crunching through your spreadsheets. This is more than just a desk mat. It's my merch. It's your mission-ready battle station, and it's a limited run. Once these submerge, they will be gone forever. My gear at your command. What are you waiting for? Looking at the war. Casualties are not too great, but you have barely any factories, which is, you know, considering I think they've taken those. We need all the help we can get, so I would probably call Italy in. We have the option to invite Hungary. I'm going to invite Hungary. Not immediately going to call them to war, maybe. As for focuses, we want to fix our industry as much as we can. Also military, but that is going to take a back seat. Start with centrale Planung for more factory output. These divisions are all trapped in a pocket. They can have their own little leader. Somebody who might be able to hold the line. However unlikely that is. Kesselring, you're good at defensive operations. This Mountaineer is just awful. Might as well not exist. You also awful, might as well not exist. I'll take von Rundstedt and use von Rundstedt to hold the border with Poland. And then let's put like 2 armies on that. Maybe 3, but we just don't have the numbers. I'm afraid you've gone so all in on tanks tanks that don't perform in the slightest, that we have nothing left to go on infantry. This is problematic. You have simply used far too much equipment up, making divisions that cannot perform. A tank division without tanks in it is not a tank division. It's, simply put, it's a lie. These guys will simply hold to the last to buy time. I can't delete them because they're encircled, so these are gone. These are most likely gone unless I can break through on one tile, but we're getting pushed back literally everywhere, so it's not happening. Yeah, these tanks are just pointless. We're gonna convert them into infantry wherever we can, because I can maybe make enough infantry equipment to make it work, and we'll go from there. You don't have the factories, you don't have the tanks, you don't have the trucks, you don't have anything. Your fighters are still fighter ones. You built no air force. I think if you're following my guide, I believe I lay out that you need an air force. Air is king in this game. There's a whole lot to explain if we're gonna touch on all the mistakes you made. It's fine. New players make mistakes. I'm not mad. Not even disappointed. I just want to help you not make the same mistakes again. So, let's recap. This is not something we do. Staging coups is also really not worth the equipment and or time investment. Prioritize reinforcement and garrisons. Division design. This is good. I would add support anti-air because it is just really helpful to pierce earlier tanks and to reduce the enemy's air advantage. Panzer divisions. This is a reasonably good design. I like this more or less, but again, this is a pointless template if you don't actually have the required medium tanks to make this thing run. A tank division without tanks is not a tank division, it is a lie. That leaves us with 26 tanks that are just worthless. There's nothing I can do other than convert them to infantry and know that they will not be effective. In a couple of places, we're also being pushed back. In all places, we're basically getting destroyed by the French, and it's embarrassing. All right, you've got a navy out there. You might want to actually, use it. It's not going to go toe-to-toe with the Royal Navy, but it might just do well enough to secure your northern Baltic coast. So we'll put them on strike force in here, and we'll move them over to Kiel. And then the submarines will move out as well. And we'll start convoy raiding here in the Danish belt. Sometimes we can catch supply convoys going to Poland that are trying to supply any French troops over there. We'll do our best. We have no air force, we have no army, we have no industry. Research, excavation, artillery upgrade 2, it's like a little bit ahead of time. Infantry, it's all fine in terms of research. I would probably be working my way down to Panzer IVs, but there's just no way we're ever going to produce any at this rate. Yeah, you don't have the Focke-Wulf 190s, which you'd like, but again, it's a little late to start work on those now. Alright, whatever. Dockyards, just make as many convoys as we can. I want to improve relations with people like Sweden to get them to give me a bunch of lend-lease. Might be hard to get them to like me, but they can't lend-lease me yet. Finland, they also can't lend-lease me yet. No, nobody can lend-lease me because the war hasn't really escalated. Doctrines, yeah. Of course we're mobile warfare. Without tanks, this is entirely pointless. Since we're stuck with it, I'm tempted to just go left side. This is going to cost 85, and then if I grab this one as well for 85, we can at least make our infantry slightly better. Because this just buffs tanks. I don't have any. None of this is great. I'll have to suffer. Trade. I don't need that much rubber. A little bit of tungsten I can get out of Sweden, maybe. Construction. You've stopped building. Might want to reverse that decision and ramp up construction wherever we can for all the good it'll still do us. So this front line is going to have to shift. Fall back to Hamburg, the river line there. Up through here, get Magdeburg, the river line here. I'm thinking Leipzig and Saxony we still control. We want to hold the Sudetenland fortifications wherever we still can and give up everything else, potentially. We'll make it work because we have to. And then down to Vienna. Slow the game down as well. Okay, so Air Force is disbanded. Our Navy is retasked. Army's gonna get reconfigured. I could get Desperate Defense or War Bonds. Let's get the War Bonds. And we still have some political power. Ribbentrop is pointless. I would get rid of him or simply never hire him. He's a waste of points. We should hire Walter Funk as a replacement for the guy that quits. Why have you gone strategic destruction? Just go battlefield support, my boy. I'm gonna pause and see just what we can salvage from this debacle. Oh, Hungary's refused to enter the war. Unfortunate. I'm afraid we're gonna have to start yielding some ground, and I don't want to yield too much of it. We're simply gonna have to give up some territory. If I can attack into some of these tiles, though, we might be able to retake vital positions. Italy, I need to call them in. They've been called in, but they've not responded, so these guys are dead. These guys are most likely dead. I can't break through there. There's fall back to Leipzig. You stop the assault. Chemnitz is lost. All right, great. In that case, just stick to the river line. If I give up Magdeburg, I have much better defensive ground. We're pushing up there. We might be able to push them out of Poznan with a little luck, so any victory is welcome. These guys are also falling back, but they're doing so incredibly slowly. And they've taken a tile that I really don't want them to take. Great. Might be able to retake that. Okay. Switching to infantry does make this entire army significantly more robust. Got Poznan back as well. And I can start building a couple of medium tanks later. I need trucks now. Let's see, what do we have in terms of an air force? Fighters and a couple of close air support. Let's get the cast back up. Having just reviewed, let's exercise them. They'll be much better. And we'll get some cast up, some fighters up over there as well. They just need a little bit of time in the oven to cook. Anyway, it's looking like the Polish side of things has at least stalled. We can hold that. Over here, we're still very much fucked. I'm gonna have to give up Vienna. This is simply getting too claustrophobic. Fall back to Pressburg. Okay, I've got Prague. Halt all movements. That means we're gonna redraw this line. We're gonna go down here. Take that fort, take Prague, take the line along here, Tabor, and the forests, Brünn, fortifications down there, and then down to Pressburg. It's not perfect, but I think we can make this work. All right, and as for recruitment, we are definitely going to need more infantry. Way more infantry is going to be required here. Man, getting this thing to be stable is going to be the hardest part of all. But once it is, though, we still have options, because the French still have disjointed government for a little while. So if and when we can make our counterattack, it's going to be much more impactful. So it does look like the Polish side of things has stabilized, and with this we may also stabilize the French side of things. If I can get that fort tile, we'd be back in business. So am I too greedy if I try to hold Vienna? I'm gonna try. It does control entire of Niederösterreich, so yeah. And then we funnel out fresh troops as soon as those are available. You assault there. Got some trains, we got some trucks. The air is being exercised, so don't worry about the Air Force. They're not going to get shot down while exercising because they don't actually interact with the air war system in that stage. The reason I'm doing that is because a green airplane has really bad stats. If you can just get them to being like level 2, they'll be so much better in everything they're going to do moving forward. So level 7 forts that I didn't have to build, hell yeah! And now we just dig in and hold what we can grab. This is not the cleanest way of doing things, but at this point, we are past doing things cleanly. We just want to do things effectively. Fine, fine. I'll sign your pact, Italy. I'll sign your pact. Now come and help me in my war. The German Reich has strategic reasons to reject. I'm asking you, Mussolini! Oh, Italy doesn't want to help. As soon as these become available, we're going to start force deploying infantry. Okay, so I see an opportunity to kill the French force concentration. So force concentration is where the AI takes its best units, usually tanks, sometimes motorized divisions, and puts them in a place of concentration. Yeah, funny how the words work. And they will try to push from there to inflict maximum amount of damage on you. So you can, I found them over here. That's a lot of divisions. If I take this one plains tile, I could cut all that off and then potentially destroy it. So it's a risk, but I'm going to take it. Having said that, I also need to keep an eye on whatever the hell's going on in Poland. The Centrale Planung, whatever I can do to fix my industry, really. What I need to get out of this situation is just an industry. Also, I would like to get some trains. They're going to have a hard time reinforcing this tile because everything that moves in to support them, I can stop. We're getting pushed back on the Polish line in some places, which is admittedly not good. I don't have an immediate solution to that issue. This is another forced concentration, I think. That's a lot of divisions in like 1 or 2 tiles. So this division is going to lose, but I don't want it to. So what I'm going to do is buy myself some time. I'm going to select a division, create a new army with it, assign any general, Paulus will do, and I'm going to give them the last stand order. This gives it a very cheap last stand. So this is one way to just buy yourself a little bit of time. So here the French are moving to reinforce this last division, having a little bit of a fight there. I don't want them to, so I'm going to take a couple of infantry divisions and pin that horse in place so it cannot reinforce the combat here. And now we move in for the kill and we finish off all divisions over there. This will allow us to kill off 2, 4, 6, 7 French divisions, of which 2 are armored and 2 are motorized, so it's a good start. Keep an eye on everything. We're starting to liberate some of our own land, which is good. We're crushing the pocket. We're controlling the seas. It's all coming up Millhouse. Gleiwitz taken, Oberschlesien is back. Manpower, steel, and 1 mill. That's better than no mill. Alright, pin that division, pin these divisions, and then these units can walk into that tile, and we will effectively encircle 5 Polish divisions that we can now destroy. Yes! Alright, got the Poles, got the French down there as well. So we're starting to shift the balance back around. We've lost 500,000 men, but we can clap back. We are not down, and we are definitely not out. Right, we've taken Köslin again. That strips a lot of supply from these guys because it's a supply hub. And that will allow us to start walking this line back. We're going to move counterattacks up, 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 up. You go down, and maybe we can get a couple more encirclements in. And the French are also attacking, but I did crush some of the French tank corps. It's mostly going to be infantry pushing me. And brother, I am not afraid of infantry. So we've somewhat secured Vienna. It's not getting some planning bonus. Push them back across the Maginot. Eventually. Alright, first batch of additional infantry. Straight up, yeah, Polish line immediately. Air can now go up. Put them on air superiority over Germany. Day and night. And all of them focus on that now. Yay, we got Hungary in. If I call Hungary to arms, they would join. And it could potentially be hilarious as they tear into Poland. Yes, join, please. And then I launch a major offensive along the Polish front, where I might actually be able to leverage them. Oh, and the Italians are also in. Would have liked you to do that a little sooner, but this is a great deal of extra pressure we're going to be able to put on the enemy now. I know. Battle planning's not the way to go, but at this point, Poland is exhausted. They're overextended, and with the Hungarians in, this might be the opportunity we need to create breakthroughs. And we now control the skies over Eastern Germany. I'm going to shift a little bit of air over to Western Poland, see if we can establish air superiority there as well. All right, 600 casts. I would like to train those, but I want to throw them in right away. If we can roll back the Poles now, we're golden. Encirclements, they're going to destroy their divisions. Divisions that are destroyed are much harder to replace. You go up towards Danzig. You go up through Gdynia and Danzig. Push, 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 push. So a couple of tips about the Führerprinzip as well. What you want to do, if you want to optimize this, is take Tot. But when you get down to where you get an event where you ask, do you want to keep Tot or is somebody else your kind of guy? When you get that event, switch over to Speer. Goebbels, not that good. You also want to get Hess, because Rally the Industrialist is really powerful. Anyway, none of that matters. Let's go back to Poland, which is now starting to crumble. I doubt they'll be able to sustain this, not with the Hungarians threatening their flanks as well. The Italians have gotten hopelessly bogged down in the Alps, as is tradition. Now, with the potential for an Italian breakthrough there, that would cut off these French divisions. I'm going to push to this tile. And then we could potentially close all of this down. We would encircle a good proportion of the French army. We're going to stop the offensive. We've done damage. Let's just take a breather. hold back a bit. A good initial blow. Alright, I think the French coup also went off. This is using the old system of doing a coup, so great. I suppose we'll get the Nation Française into our faction then. Do I want that though? I actually want to occupy France myself. I'll just leave it as a distraction. Speaking of a distraction, that's going to make a lot of those French troops move away, which means, let's see if we can attack. We'll stop on the Polish line, like just legitimately stop, let them wear themselves out a bit against us. But now that we have the French on the back foot, we can do some damage here. They're really pulling out because they're trying to respond to this, I guess. I would very much like them to snuff out Nation Française so I can occupy France myself. I don't want to deal with these guys. But while they're doing that, they're redeploying a lot of their divisions back there to take that out. And I can make use of that to, you know, get my country back. Let's head down to Salzburg, get my stuff. I want my stuff. I'm also going to replace Philipp Holzmann with Tot. It's just way better for anything. That's a truly massive distraction here. All right, make tanks, make infantry equipment, ramp up production of everything else. And then most likely big on air, BF-109s. I think Nation Française is going to go the way of the Dodo, which is perfectly fine. It's allowed Italy to break through, and it has allowed me to make this grand sweeping maneuver. We're back, baby. Yeah, the old system for coups was so much more... It had a lot more potential for memery like this. Yeah, Polish counterattack hurts a little bit, but it's most likely going to be ultimately like their own downfall. They just can't sustain this. Yeah, the French defeated the French, as they do. I can invite Romania. So, welcome aboard Legion Romania. I've got a job for you. It involves Poland. I'd appreciate it if you could, you know, give me a hand there. Let's keep the offensive rolling for a little bit. There's still, mostly in the south, there's still opportunity for big maneuvers. We're gonna need a lot more guns as well. This is very expensive in terms of equipment. Okay, so that was magnificent. It's been a great first counterattack. And over here, we're going to try and crush the French and British forces between the German-Dutch border. So we can create little pockets up there that we can focus fire on. And that is some Franco-British forces pushed into Emden, where they will also be denied. Oh yeah, Romania's coming in clutch. Yeah, Poland doesn't have anything left. Everything they had went into that first counterattack. It completely exhausts them. Poland's going to die. If we're going to continue from this point forward, we're not just going to have to build a whole bunch of military factories. We're also going to have to build a whole bunch of synthetic refineries so we can have the oil we need to keep the war going. We simply will not have access to oil otherwise. It's a good clapback so far, but we're going to find ourselves back on the on the Maginot line soon. And another French encirclement. All right, let's try to quickly push on through into the Maginot before they're able to... Ah, damn, they're in. Yeah, my plan was to maybe push through the Maginot so that divisions could never get in there with full org, but unfortunately, too late. Anyway, Poland has been defeated. Everyone to the other side of the line. We are throwing everything at the west now. Let's just get Molotov-Ribbentrop back in case the Soviets decide to do something. I doubt it. I'm gonna need that little bit of extra time it buys me. There's just nothing I can do. I can get to Metz. I can punch through the Maginot. So, through there, and then Nancy as well. We're probably through. And Mulhouse as well. So, we're pushing into tiles that are occupied by really weak French divisions that can't possibly defend themselves. So even though, yes, it is a level 10 fort, that doesn't matter if the unit on there doesn't have any organization and is immediately assaulted by a superior force. So that is how I intend to get through the Maginot without having to draw in more enemies. Up here, we're still trying to take care of these last French divisions. Military... Oh! Consumer goods have reached 100. I'll see some Polish gold. That should see economy of conquest be less than shit. It is slightly less than shit now. It's still not great. Alright, let's start grabbing land here. Reims to Amiens. Lille. We're through, so just need to maximize the impact we can have here. I need control of the railway network, though. So what we're going to need to do is build like a little bit of a railway connection there so that we can exploit that and embiggen our occupation forces. All right, we've already made it through to Troyes and then into Paris. Damn, that's that feels really solid as counterattacks go. That feels really solid. So that now we do have numerical superiority. What we're gonna do is constantly expand the front line, grabbing more and more land, making the front longer and longer, and giving the French a very hard time of actually covering all of it. They have to deal with the Italian front. They have to deal with this front. We're pinning a large portion of their army in place here on the Maginot. We'll never take these tiles realistically, but we're keeping these divisions in place. And over here, we're constantly going to be expanding the front, making it ever wider, wider, grabbing more and more land, making it more and more difficult for the French to actually cover the front. We'll simply frog march our way to their capital. Yeah, that's about it for the French, and goodbye. Bada bing, bada boom. I'll establish Vichy France. Don't want to occupy all of it. It's a disgusting color, but it's a puppet, and I'll take it. And with that, we're now going to set up just some coast guards and draw up the rest of the units to take out the Low Countries, because we have business here. We're going to walk in there and give them a really fun surprise. Probably need to do around Maginot. Do we still have the war goals? We still have the war goals. I don't think they expire anytime soon, so they're next. We're now making fighter 2s, which are great. And I'm going to swing this back to battlefield support. It's just better against the AI. If you're able to establish yourself with air superiority, this is just way better for bombing. CAS is king. Let's crank out more tanks, crank out more fighters, and crank out more CAS. Make numbers go up, please. And keep trading with Sweden, and in this case, Huangxi or Portugal. Portugal's also a good pick. Construction's fine. We're fine. Everything is fine. Now for garrisoning duty, you're going to simply design empty template, mobile battalion, cavalry, 1 cavalry. This is really all you need for occupation, the way the system's set up. Maybe they'll change it, maybe they won't, but you really don't need anything else. That's resistance in my own country. But why? Well, the UK simply joined the Allies, in which case we'll overrun them. Let's get in there, start crushing it. I would have liked to have this armor ready. I'll just force deploy it. It's not going to do great on its own, but if I can give it to one of my decent tank commanders, who knows? It might just perform. So drive that to The Hague. And we're also going to declare war on the Belgians. I was going to do this a little bit more refined, but the infantry can probably pull this off with air support. Yep, the armor, not as well as I would have liked, but it does work. And that's it for the Netherlands. Huzzah! And there goes Belgium. Now it's just the UK. Our fleet realistically can't touch them. We'll be able to naval invade if we can put our air up and dominate in the sky. We can probably defeat the Royal Air Force overhead and then quite possibly eke out air superiority that way. Just have a good fight over the channel. If I'll do Weserübung, it allows me to eat Denmark as well. Maybe send some troops to Norway. And free French golds, Dutch golds, and the economy of conquest is no longer as terrible as it could have been. Oh, I had almost forgotten about Luxembourg. Yeah, let's resolve that. Right, Moscow signs the pact. Huzzah. Let's just declare war on Luxembourg. It's a free country. Why not? Extra tanks would be nice, but it's just impossible for us to get enough tanks built by the time we're ready to take out the UK, so it's just gonna have to do. So we're trying to out-attrition the Royal Air Force over the Benelux. It does seem to be working. It's not all of their Air Force. We do have a positive KD here, so if I can keep shooting them down, we'll take out their a lot of their fighters, some of their bombers, and then hopefully by the time we are ready to pivot to Sea Lion, we'll take them all out. It's September already, so it's gonna be a late Sea Lion. Oh, we have a war goal on Yugoslavia. You know what? It's probably not a terrible idea. You know, everyone knows more war is better. Probably overrun them quickly. Weserübung. We're just gonna take out Denmark real quick. They might just surrender or not. I don't know how they do it without DLC. We can work on Sea Lion or get me Alsace-Lorraine. I think there's a couple of good things here. So Rosenberg office, very helpful to create Reichskommissariats if you're afraid of hitting the autarky limits. Speaking of autarky, we are short on oil. We are short on... You could probably sort of fix this. Let's work our way down to autarky achieved. So, okay, let's do Reichswerke. Alright, Denmark joined the Allies. And without the DLC, they don't fold like a cheap suit. They fold like a slightly more expensive suit. And that is Denmark out. Alright, and we'll use this guy's army to invade Norway as well. Let's fire von Ribbentrop, replace him with France. More factory output. We'll make a lot of fighters, a lot of CAS, definitely a lot of tanks. Speaking of our tanks, so these are fine. I'm going to replace the engineers, though, with assault engineers. Support artillery is going to be removed. I'm going to replace it with recon for the movement bonuses. And that's going to be it for now. Support anti-air is fine. I might add field hospitals, but I haven't actually researched those. Not a terrible thing to grab, honestly. Subs are cool, but extra experience in units is better because this is going to make them much more durable. We'll keep training up infantry divisions. So, building mills. We're building synthetics. We're going to try to do the best we can with the tools we have available to us. All in all, I'm feeling confident. Just need to get an in the UK. Just need to get that moment of naval superiority. If we can attrition down their air, we're in the money. Speaking of in the money, let's build a radar station. Let's also take care of Yugoslavia. Simply declare war. Not going to call my allies in. These guys can attack. They're probably fine. I'll use my armor to drive around here as well a little bit. I got air overhead. Should be okay. Time for more gold. Yes, I'll take all of your gold. Alright, this is basically over. Up here, we're going to naval invade Norway as well. I need Norway anyway. Got the navy out there. Should be able to achieve superiority. Naval invasion is off. Move a couple of fighters in as support because we're going to need a little bit of air support. Shouldn't be too terrible though. A couple of casts up overhead. Now Yugoslavia is basically done for. I don't see them getting back from this one. Naval invasion worked out like a charm. Start spreading out. Assault Stavanger. Make sure we can take the ports. Supporting attacks on the flanks. And then into the naval bases. Great, we've taken them. Infantry up. Up and at 'em, boys. Up and at 'em. Get me my Norway. I'll keep pushing Sweden as well. They tend to say yes in historical. And we're in Belgrade. Huzzah! Stop these exercises. So 2 fronts to manage, but really shouldn't be much of an issue. I got air over Norway. Keep pushing. I got air over Balkans. Yes. It's all coming up Millhouse. I really need to maximize my production so that we have a large enough stockpile of equipment, enough tanks. There goes Yugoslavia. Great. Now to take care of the Greeks, because apparently Italy is performing exactly the way you'd expect Italy to perform. So, terribly. Yeah, Norway's folding. Brilliant. Oh, that's a lot of Norway we'll still have to capture then. I really don't want to go all the way up to Narvik. Oh, am I really going to have to go all the way up to Narvik? Annoyingly, Italy has a bunch of claims in this region, meaning they'll not give me this territory. That's kind of annoying because this is the main source of chromium I need to achieve autarky, and they're not willing to give it to me, which is kind of annoying. I mean, I've done all of the heavy lifting here, Italy, but okay, it's fine. I'm not mad, just a little disappointed. Never mind that I crushed Greece for you, but you know, it's fine, I guess. So Norway is still... Yes, Norway is out at last. Fucking hell. Sure took us long enough. For the time being, I'll leave these troops to garrison the area until we've dealt with Britain. And speaking of Britain, let's bring all the air back. We're gonna go to the channel. I could squeeze out naval superiority by putting my fleets in the area. So we're gonna get ready to naval invade Britain. In base game, just vanilla, this is reasonably easy. Because the AI is honestly not that great at defending the home islands. When I say reasonably easy, it's reasonably easy for me because I've done this a bunch of times. I can understand this being a little bit difficult for a newer player, but what you want to do is put your Navy on Strike Force, or what's this called? Naval Invasion Support in the channel. Put all of your air, or as much of it as you need, in the same area, so your fighters and your close air support. And what you want to do with them is bomb the hell out of the English Channel. Naval strike and just air superiority to make sure that we get full air superiority impact on our ship amounts. Now, this is going to change with the next DLC. They're going to change how this works. But for now, naval supremacy can be very much improved by simply stacking air. If you have green skies, you'll have green seas a lot easier. All right, let's get ready. I have armor in position, such as it is. I have 2 more tank divisions almost ready. I'm just going to force deploy them. They're going to be green. I realize that. I'm just going to get them in position, and maybe I'll just exercise them a bit. I know that exercising armor is usually terrible, but, if I can get them a little bit of experience, great. Got air. I'll get more air. I have plenty of factories making fighters for me, so we should be able to achieve air superiority. Now, my hope is that we can knock out the UK before the Americans join, because America still isn't in, and it's just the United Kingdom as a major, but it is December of 1940, so we got about 6 months before the UK joins. Usually, the US joins. They're based on when Japan attacks. Gonna be tight. Japan's doing really poorly. Meanwhile, I'm keeping my economy of conquests functional by just constantly seizing people's gold reserves. You really want to get to autarky, which is a little bit difficult. The oil is a bit of a pain in the ass. The rubber you can get with your refineries. The steel and the aluminum are easy. Tungsten you can get either through the trade deal with Sweden or from invading Portugal. You can get the chromium either from seizing Macedonia. But if you can't get that, you're going to have to invade Turkey or the Soviet Union. And the oil is the big one. That's annoying. Alright, we're able to maintain air superiority and naval superiority because of our airplanes. The Navy's in position. The invasions are prepped. So let's go. Let's go. Let's go. 3 tanks should be sufficient. We've got 1,400 fighters, 600 casks. We're going to throw everything and the kitchen sink at southern England. Let's go. We'll hit Portsmouth, Dover. Well, there goes Greece. We'll hit Portsmouth and Dover, and hope that's enough. And it would appear that it might actually be enough. I'm afraid Britain is somewhat overtaxed fighting everywhere all at once. So this is probably going to go really well. Yeah, this is very likely to go really, really well for us. So infantry start pushing north aggressively. And our CAS is going to switch over, as well as our Air Force. We're now going to go full-on CAS support everything and the kitchen sink, boys. If we beat the UK, all of our problems are fixed. We'll have the Allies knocked out almost day 1. Well, it's 41, so it's not exactly day 1, but... So we're winning the air war. Good CAS damage. And now we bring in the armor as well. I'm going to micro the armor, because I'm going to need to play this... well, seize ports, seize local supply hubs, seize victory points. We want to finish the job quickly. All right, we're pushing through. If I can get London isolated, that would be amazing. Come on, isolate the capital. Down here, we're also mopping up. London isolated, seize the city. Major victory point, major supply hub, and that's a lot of British divisions gone. All right, I can... probably just battle plan my way north now. Let's go, boys. Whew. The fall of London, boys. Air and Navy combined. I'm just very glad you didn't squander your Navy and I had it available for this move. Because if we hadn't been able to do a sea line, we'd end up fighting Soviets and Allies, which I know is historical, but it's not an ideal position to find yourself in. Oh yeah, thank you for Operation Sea Line. Now, let's work our way down here, subsidizing Hochbenzin. Now, we might actually bypass these two. It's going to depend. Let's get Totalerkrieg. Total air superiority. Excellent performance by the armor. A happy man. I am a happy, happy man. We never managed to get a lot of tanks, but we got some of them, and they're contributing. There we go. Time for a nice little peace deal, and we'll have a wonderful time. And with that, we have essentially won World War II. Basically took all of Poland for cleaner borders. I took Alsace, Lorraine, and Luxembourg because we can core those through a focus, and then gave the rest of France to Vichy France, and then just puppeted everything else we could because puppets are simply more economical than occupying it directly. The puppets can run their focus trees, giving them more factories, and you can later integrate them yourself. And we now almost meet the requirements for autarky achieved. It's just going to be a matter of... It's just going to be a matter of building up towards the oil. We can get that probably by building infrastructure in places like Qatar and the steel. So if we build infrastructure in places that we just puppeted, damn, the Italians puppeted it. So if we build infrastructure in places that have a lot of steel, they will produce more steel, and that should push us over the threshold. Other things to consider is places with oil. We are lacking in the oil department. We only produce 58 oil, and we need to produce 100, if I'm not mistaken. 150. Yeah, probably should have focused more on taking some oil stuff, like the, you know, the general oil-rich areas there. There is some oil here. We can increase the production of these puppets by simply building, again, infrastructure on those tiles so they output more oil. And if you really need more oil, you just invade the US now. The economy of conquest is down to 18%. We're about to hit Totalerkrieg. We're gonna be fine. We now have a very long border with the US. They are still not fully militarized. You could go in on them now. But I'd say this disaster is saved. That is a very healthy looking German Reich. A very healthy looking Axis. Considering the starting position, I'd say this is fine. In a relatively short time, we've turned this around to a win. Now, I hope you guys learned something. I hope you guys had fun. If you want to see more of these somewhat shorter disasters, let me know down in the comments below. And I hope to see you guys in the next video as well. Goodbye.